taking the team total. I'm taking first quarter, first half, full game, taking it all. OU all the way. I lost so much money on OU.
I give a rat's ass about Twitter.
Whoa, he has trouble with the snap, and the ball is free.
Cat starts going, all crazy. And they run through our ass like shit through a tin horn, man.
What is up, and welcome to Not Another CFB Pod, a very special edition. We are once again brought to you by Coda Sports Cappers Gambling Network. But I have with me today a good pal of mine, Beast Picks. If you don't know about Beast Picks, well, he is an NFL sharp, in my opinion. He's been killing it this year on his podcast, which we'll talk about. But here lately, it's been all about the Beast prop. So that's, if you don't know what that is, basically just NBA props that he's had, and he's hit so many in a row. I think we're at 5 in a row as of recording this, but before that, we were on a double-digit streak. So I've been tailing him and making a bunch of money. So I had to bring my good friend Beast Picks on the show. How's it going, Beast?
Pretty good, man. Yeah, I'm glad to be here. Kind of excited for the NFL coming up, and we had a fun game on Monday with the National Championship. So just glad to be here. Appreciate it.
Yeah, football's going great. We had our last college football game of the year, so that's kind of, this is sort of a CFB pod. That's been kind of the whole thing, but what we're going to do from here is kind of transition into just other sports. I'm going to have friends from online on, like Beast Picks, and we're just going to have a good time hanging out. Beast I feel like his sharpest is in the NFL, so it's the perfect guy to have on for this show. We're going to kind of break down each NFL game. But first, Beast, I guess let's talk about that national championship game. I mean, Georgia, Alabama, Georgia takes it home 33-18, their first national championship since 1980. I was all over Bama. I thought, you don't bet against Nick Saban, all those things, but I don't remember if you told us what you were on. So, what did you think about this game?
I was nervous because I didn't really have a side that I was really leaning with, which,
That's right.
It makes sense. I mean, Bama had looked so good in that first game. It was hard to not, want to bet on them.
Mm-hmm.
So I ended up just doing 2 player props. And the first one was Bryce Young over rushing yards, which didn't even come close. I think he took a sack for like 13 yards early in the game. And I was like, yeah, unless he busts a big run off, we're done. But then I had Ja'Cory Brooks over receiving yards. And honestly, unfortunately, you had the injury to Jamison Williams, but it ended up opening up a little bit more for Ja'Cory Brooks, and he ended up hitting it on like their last drive. We had like 2 late catches to cover. So I just ended up doing that. I ended up going 1-1. So I can't really be happy, but I didn't lose, I guess.
You didn't lose anywhere near as bad as I did, man. I'll tell you that right now. We took an L on the show on that. I was all over Bama. I even teased. So basically my 2 big plays that I gave out was, Bama plus the 2.5 or 3. I think I got it at 3 maybe. And then it was the teaser of Bama and the over. Like the over did eventually get there just because the ending of this game was ridiculous. But obviously Bama plus 9 didn't even cover. So like, without that final pick 6, which that fourth quarter just like really opened up. But one fun thing that spawned out of this game, the reason that I can kind of still look back at it and kind of smile about it, is we did halftime thoughts with PG, and then we did a post-game thoughts with PG. And there was a ton of people in there. It was a Twitter space, ton of people in there giving their opinion, giving their takes, giving their bets, whatever it was. It was really fun, and it was surprisingly successful. Part of the reason I never do this is because, typically it's late night, you've had drinks. It's hard to control yourself, but it's way harder to control other people. And I was really worried about that, but everyone was really chill. Everyone was really cool. In fact, at the halftime, when we had one of the Bama players, godfather came in, and he was like, "Hey, number 6 from Bama, that's my godson," or whatever. So his godson's the one that actually gave up like 2 throwing touchdowns to Georgia. So he had a tough game, but it's just so funny that guy happened to pop in the chat. There was like probably 40 people in there at the peak at the halftime one. I didn't even look. It was awesome. It was a lot of fun, but yeah, I mean, what are you going to do? I think you did the smart thing and just didn't take a side. Now looking back, I kind of wish I could be like you and at least be 1-1, but
I mean, it's hard, especially when it's, you saw Bama looked so good. Bryce Young tore up that Georgia defense the first time they played.
Yep.
And I was like, this is your Heisman winner. Like, he's going to show up. And he really didn't play all that bad. I know the pick 6 at the end kind of sealed the deal.
Yeah.
But I mean, overall, I thought Bama, they were up in that game, like with
Mhm.
10 minutes to go, and then they were down 1 with like 5 minutes. So
Yep.
the game wasn't, I feel like, as telling as like the score was.
Yeah.
33-18 is not really accurate. I mean,
Right.
the yards, I think, were pretty close. I think Bama was actually above in total yards at the end.
Yes, they were 399 to 364. It's a good
So,
call. And they actually
yeah,
had 2 more first downs as well. So just one of
right,
those
right.
things. Two, they actually had 2 interceptions at the end of the day. It was tough. I mean, it was tough. But like I said, the spaces kind of redeemed everything. So what I want to
Oh,
do
yeah.
going forward, Beast, is when we have these big ones, like, I'm just thinking Patriots, Bills, Saturday night, we've got a bunch of Bills fans on the timeline. We've got a bunch of Pats fans on the timeline thinking about doing one of those. Then just kind of like for the big primetime games that we're all watching, like there's the Monday night, the Cardinals
Yeah.
Rams game, like kind of those big games that we know everyone's watching and everyone has thoughts on. Cause one thing we did is, okay, here's our bets. And then before we go, because the game was about to start back up, I was like, let's get what's the halftime bets we want to get out of this. And so people were throwing out, it was, I think 1.5. Bama was favored by 1.5. So people were like, I'm on Georgia. I'm on this. So we'll try to do something like that. So keep an eye on the timeline at Potato Gobbler, and hopefully our guy Beast maybe will jump in there too. I
I'll
know
try my best for sure. It's fun. It gets people kind of interacted, and I think people don't always. They don't know if they have like what it takes to give out plays and stuff,
Sure.
but everybody's got the plays at the end of the day. So,
Yeah.
it gives them an opportunity. It's a little bit easier, you just pop in real quick, give a play.
Yeah.
So
it worked out great. Well, real quick before we jump into those NFL plays, because we're going to try to break down at least shortly each one. And if we have any picks on them, we'll give those out here. But before we do that, I need to read about one of our sponsors. Not Another CFB Pod is sponsored by Moneyline Dice. Moneyline aims to revolutionize the sports betting market through the creation of both functional and novelty products that sports bettors of all levels will enjoy. Spotted by its golden peaks, the Moneyline logo symbolizes winning and winning big. Featured products include Moneyline Sports Betting Dice, Moneyline Sports Betting Pocket Notebook, Snapback Hat, and more. Use the promo code CODA10 to receive a 10% discount on your next order. That's promo code CODA10 for 10% off your next order at moneylinedice.com, and that's KOTA 10. Beast, these guys are all from like the Dakotas, the very far north, and so that's real far from me. I know you're up in like the kind of the Michigan or whatever area, so it's not that crazy for you. But these guys crack me up. The Dakotas. I mean, I need to visit them. I guess I need to get up there and see all my guys with the Coda Cappers. But I guess let's jump right into it, Beast. And I think the way we'll do this, let's just go chronological order. So let's start, Beast, with the Las Vegas Raiders versus the Cincinnati Bengals. This is a Saturday game, midday game, 3:30 Central, 4:30 East Coast, whatever you prefer. But this is a very interesting game to me because when I first looked at it on paper, Beast, I thought I was on Cincinnati. Love what Joe Burrow's doing. Love what the offense is doing. They're hitting the gritty, like they're doing all the fun stuff. They're getting the public favor. But I think the Raiders got a shot here. I like them plus 5.5. That's going to be my pick for this game. I think it's probably decent teaser fodder down the road too, because if you tease this, you get it over 10, you get 11.5, depending on your book, just plus 6. So I like the Raiders here. I just wanted to give this stat out before I let you go. The Raiders went 7-2 this season in one-score games. They were 4-0 in overtime, and they won 4 straight one-score games to get to the playoffs. And then secondly, in the last 25 years, so let me set the stage. The Raiders have a negative point differential on the season, meaning that their points against are higher than their points for. So in the last 25 years, teams with negative point differential in the first round of the playoffs are 5-0 against the spread and 5-0 straight up. So it's very interesting. These teams that got beat up on in the regular season that found a way into the playoffs late. I don't know if it's that they get hot at the end of the year to make it to the playoffs, but they've done great in this wild card round. I'm just taking the Raiders plus the points. I don't know if they can win straight up. I don't want to put myself through that, but that's my pick. What do you think about this?
No, I'm on the same side as you here. I think this is actually one of like the sharper plays too, because most of the people are probably going to look at, they played in November and Cincinnati beat the crap out of them. I mean, frankly, I think it was 32-13. So, I mean, a lot of people will see that and be like, oh, the same thing's going to happen. But I like what the Raiders bring. I feel like Derek Carr showed a lot of guts and grit last week. He was, playing great. Obviously, they put that game into overtime, must-win game, and he showed up. What's this week? It's a must-win game. So I like what they bring. Like you said, they've been awesome in these one-score games, and they've played in a lot of one-score games, and that's what the playoffs is a lot of times, is one-score games. So I know they're 9-7, but they're not a 9-7 team. At the end of the day, they've showed me probably like the last 5-6 weeks, because I wasn't always as high on them, but the last 5-6 weeks they've played some good ball. I totally agree with you too. If you wanted to tease a game, this is like your best play on the card, I'd say, because a plus 11.5, you're not going to beat that. So I think this is a great play. I agree with you here.
So one interesting thing too I wanted to bring up is that I guess one of the Cincinnati Bengals tackles has been a little banged up, and it's kind of a backup situation right now, and he'll be going against Max Crosby. So a prop I heard to take is the tight end from the Bengals. His receiving yards under, I think, how do you say his name? Uzama? CJ?
Yeah,
Uzama?
something like that. Yeah.
So take his receiving yards under, because he's going to have to chip Max Crosby all game, or he's going to be in the backfield all game long. Max Crosby, a beast of a DN. So this will be a fun one. One of the guys from Coda Cappers, B. Russ, is a big Raiders guy. In fact, he was at that game against the Chargers last week. Awesome. That was nearly a tie. Him and his dad, I guess, are big Raiders fans. So they were there loving it at the big Roomba in the desert, as he called it. So I thought that was pretty funny. But yeah, going to be a great game. Very cold. I kind of wanted to take an over here. It is on turf, but it's just so cold. And I think it's going to snow in the morning, maybe even. I thought I saw just for a little bit, but I don't know. It just kind of scared me. Outdoor overs, especially in the wild card round, seem a little scary. So we'll move on. This is the big one for the timeline, Beast. This is going to be the one that gets the most heat on the TL. This is the New England Patriots taking on the Buffalo Bills for the third time this year. They split the series. The Patriots won the first one in an absolute monsoon blizzard type situation, sideways rain, sideways, the wind going crazy. And then the Bills won the most recent matchup, 33-21. I thought they looked really good in that. I was kind of looking at Bills first half here. This is going to be obviously a home game for the Bills. It's going to be 4 degrees. But these Buffalo Bills fans are built for that. I don't know how you northern people do it. Like, I would be sick in 4-degree weather, but they're going to be loving it. There's going to be dudes with their shirts off, swinging it around, drinking beers. I think the first half play of the Bills is probably the one I would want to go with, because it's going to be under a field goal. And I expect them to let Josh Allen run a little bit more. Maybe the full game's worth it. Thought about maybe teasing this over too, getting this over up to 50. But we just because it's so cold and all that. But I mean, these teams know how to play in this type of weather. So I think I'm rolling with Josh Allen. It should be noted, Jalen Mills, the starting corner for New England's out with COVID. Linebacker Jamie Collins didn't play in practice on Wednesday. I don't know about today, on Thursday, as we're recording, but tons of guys for the Pats are questionable. I think that's more of a Belichick thing than anything. I think that's just how he is in the playoffs, try to kind of make the other team think everybody's out and then jump all over them. But what did you think about this game, Beast?
This is a tough one too, because the temperature changes everything. Obviously, we saw that the first game when it was in New England, and we saw, like you said, with all the snow. But if I had to lean one way in this game, I'd probably actually go Patriots +4, just because it's Belichick, and something tells you don't want to bet against him in the playoffs. And
absolutely,
I feel like this line to me feels more like what we saw in those first two matchups, which were like 2.5 to 3 was the first matchups spread. It feels like it should be more like a 3-point spread. So if you're giving me above 3, especially at +4, I'm just not so sold that these teams are like a massive gap in talent for me. So with the temperature added, this might be one of those just ugly kind of, cold weather games that you see classics. I could see it being like a 3-point win or something, and you get the cover. But it's hard because Josh Allen is playing a lot better than Mac Jones is, in my opinion, right now. New England actually kind of this last 5 weeks, they were 2-3, kind of staggered into this, matchup. So we'll see what happens. But I like going with Belichick in the playoffs in this opportunity. So getting him +4, he might be ready to kind of take that underdog role on.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you get Belichick in an underdog role, it kind of feels a lot like when I took in the national championship, Nick Saban, minus the freaking or plus the 3. Just getting points with a coach that's won that many championships, put that many different teams into that type of situation. It's also the wild card weekend. A lot of these underdogs end up barking. Everybody thinks it's going to be kind of a chalk week, but it never really is. Even in these big spread games, like this next one we're going to talk about, Philadelphia Eagles at 9-8 taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 13-4. This is an 8.5 point spread, over under a 46. I didn't have much for this game. It's kind of hard to say. I mean, you would think Tampa Bay is just a lot better team, but they've got a lot of injury problems. They've got guys walking out mid-game, like AB jumping around in the end zone, throwing the peace sign, just tons of distractions for them. They're just typically like the type of team. In fact, the way I see this game playing out, I kind of like a first half under here. I think the Phillies are just so scrappy. They know that it's on the defense to keep them in this game. They're going to hold Tom Brady down in the first half. They're going to make enough plays in the second half to win this game. I guess if you're going with a full game bet, you might take the Eagles. But as a guy that's a Cowboys fan, it's kind of hard for me to do. This first half under is like the only thing that I've really targeted. So I don't know if you have any additional views on this game, but that's what I got.
I don't have anything too strong either, kind of like you said, but as much as it would be hard to go against Tom Brady, the first time these two teams played, it was 28-22. Everybody kind of was on Brady. I think it was like a 7-point spread or something like that. And there was a late cover. So really, Philly kind of got away, with a late cover there. But I don't know, man. Like you said, there's so many issues going on with Tampa Bay right now. Maybe this is the classic spot where we're all like, oh, does Tom Brady actually have what it takes this year? And then he proves us all wrong. So part of me is like, oh, just instantly take Brady. But 8.5 points just is so much points that if I was throwing a bet down on this, I think I'd have to take Jalen Hurts and see what he can do. This is his first real contender of a team, I would say. So I'd be curious to see what they can do. That first matchup, while it was 28-22, the teams are playing like two different teams now. I think, the Eagles have what it takes to probably cover an 8.5 point spread. Just like you said, these underdogs are kind of barking, So I think it's a good spot if you're going to try to take Philly. And I think the like percentage between public and money, most of the public is all over Tampa Bay, but the money is leaning with Philly. So, there's some sharp money there too. So
yeah, I mean, it's probably a similar situation. It's like anytime you can get a decent enough playoff team, plus more than a touchdown in a wild card game, you're probably going to take it because this is the NFL and the talent disparity isn't crazy like it is in college. These guys are motivated. They're going to play hard. So I don't know. I mean, it's just tough for me to take the Eagles. Maybe that first half under is my only play on that one. Let's get to a game that's near and dear to my heart. It's the Dallas Cowboys at home taking on the San Francisco 49ers. This is our midday game on Sunday. So this will be kind of that middle of the week. I'm going to have some friends over for this one. Hopefully I don't go too much into demon mode. Sometimes when I watch the Cowboys play, it's kind of like you almost have to like take on, if you're a Cowboys fan, you almost have to take on like this weird villain role. And I kind of felt that when we played the Eagles. I love beating the Eagles, and I knew we were going to pound them because it was their subs. It's all their backups. So I just kind of laid it on last week. So I hope I didn't offend too many people with that character. But it'll be a fun matchup with the 49ers. They're a team that is scrappier than you think. Like it was at a big comeback victory in overtime against the Rams. I had them. I don't remember what the spread was now, but that was one of my winners from this last weekend that I got from you guys' show. There were plus points and ended up winning straight up. So that was a great pick. But yeah, they're coming to the AT&T Stadium. I think that it's going to be a rowdy environment. It's going to be a lot of fun. Dak Prescott's a guy who's won a playoff game before. Not very many has he won, but he's won before. This is just, I think I like the Cowboys -3 here. It's a bit of a homer pick, so I'm not going to try to convince everyone to take it. But I think that we're the better team. I think when this defense is healthy and everybody's playing, which we're looking pretty healthy right now, if everybody's in that I think is going to be in, the run defense is going to be stronger than people think. This game's going to be put on the shoulders of Jimmy G, who has that weird injury with his thumb. we'll see what he's got. He looked a lot better in that second half against the Rams, but Cowboys have a pretty decent secondary at times. They're known to get some turnovers at least. So maybe the Cowboys get a few turnovers here. I also looked at Cowboys team total over, which is 27.5. It's a little tough in the playoffs, but we're in a dome. So I don't know. I just like my Cowboys here. What do you think, Beast?
Yeah, this is a spread wise. I probably would lean Cowboys with you. I just think the Cowboys are the better team. But my favorite play on this game is actually under 51 points. And I know that, it's everybody's going to say, well, wait a minute, like that Cowboys offense is electric. And they're going to say, Jimmy G's been kind of doing well lately. But I actually like the Cowboys defense a lot. I think they've really kind of gotten better as the year went on. Early in the year, I was like, I don't think they got it. Their defense is negative, the early weeks, and they've gotten better and better as the years went on. Obviously, the whole Micah Parsons thing, everybody loves him. Probably, defensive player of the year potentially.
Well, he'll be in the talks. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say,
Definitely
you got TJ Watt. So, yeah,
definitely rookie of the year.
And the other thing is San Francisco plays some pretty good defense. I know Dallas has, an elite offense, but San Francisco and Dallas are both top 10 in points per game allowed, defensively. And then Dallas is 22.1 points at home, and then San Francisco is 21.1 on the road. So these teams don't necessarily, play, too bad defensively, at home and on the road. So I like kind of the under 51. It just feels like such a high number. I might get burned, but sometimes when it's that high of a number, I just got to take a chance on two defenses that I think are pretty good,
Yeah, no, I don't hate that at all. And I saw some stats this week too about how slow these teams are and just at your average pace when there's not like a 2-minute drill that's at hand. It cuts out all those drives at the end of the game so that you get more of an accurate representative. And I think these teams are both bottom 25 in pace per play. So I mean, there you go. These are teams that like to huddle up and go slow. And I think Dallas is going to put an emphasis on trying to run the ball here as we move further into playoffs. In order to beat some of these big dogs, they're going to have to run the ball better. I believe Pollard is going to be back, the backup running back for the Cowboys. So he's a big key in this running game too, because he's kind of that change of pace back a little bit quicker. We'll see. I'm rooting for the boys though, and I hope some of the timeline is too. Let's move on to the night game, and we're definitely going to have to do a spaces on Twitter for this one. This is the Pittsburgh Steelers taking on the Kansas City Chiefs. This is our Sunday night game on NBC. It's going to be a lot of fun. Andy Reid back in the playoffs. This is a massive spread though, Beast. Kansas City minus 12.5 is the line, over under a 46. I don't really know. All I know is it's going to be a very cold game. It's going to be a very windy game. So, I mean, the over under being that low is scary with the Chiefs because they're liable to score that by themselves at times. I don't think Pittsburgh's defense is bad, and they know it's kind of a similar handicap to some of those games we were talking about earlier, like with the Eagles, where they know if they're going to win this game, the defense really has to be the key and stepping up. We'll see. Maybe Pittsburgh's able to run the ball a little bit on Kansas City and just slow this game down. Maybe this goes way under. I know it's going to be very cold and very windy there in Kansas City. Again, those people in the Midwest are built a lot different than me because I would be chilling somewhere where there's not wind, probably on my couch at home, but I have a great respect for those people. I have a lot of family that's a big Kansas City Chiefs fan, so I respect them a lot. I don't really have a good read on this though, Beast. I almost just took Pittsburgh Steelers plus 12.5, but I do not want to sit there and like root for Big Ben to try to score a touchdown late. It's going to be so gross. He can barely throw the ball downfield at this point. So I don't know what you have on this game, but I'm kind of staying away, I think.
It's ugly, but I got to do it. I got to go with Big Ben plus 12.5.
Let's go.
And this is probably, like you said, I really hate doing it because I don't want to sit on my couch and watch this guy. He has absolutely, no mobility in the pocket. If they can get some pressure, he's going down. But
yeah,
I feel like 12.5 points. I did it all year for the most part with a lot of these big spreads. I like kind of taking, a double-digit dog in this league. There's just not enough, gap between all the talent. I know I was mentioning, talent gap earlier, but I mean, these guys are all professionals. Big Ben kind of makes me even more like nervous with his comments that, this week where he's, we're just going to go have fun. I don't know whether he's, meaning that as a joke or if he's just maybe trying to throw some like mental games into KC. Like they think it's going to be easy now. I don't know. But what I do know is that 12.5 points for that defense, they should be able to at least get them. I don't know, a 10-point loss. Like, that's all
Yeah.
I ask for.
Yeah.
But gosh, it's an ugly play. And there's a chance that I'm sitting there on Sunday night just watching Patrick Mahomes just do his little trot down the field as he
Oh,
threw
yeah.
his 5th touchdown pass of the game. It's like, so there's a chance I get burned bad, but I got to take it just from a number standpoint. I'm like, yeah, you got to take a chance on the double-digit dog. So
I agree. Okay. I like it. Well, I like it a lot. One thing that should be brought up too is these teams just met up a couple weeks ago, the 26th. Chiefs beat the Steelers 36-10. Another massive reason that I tried to stay away, but I may have to join our guy Beast. I can't let him suffer on his own there on his couch. It's going to be tough though. I've just kind of done a thing, man. A couple times that happened to me in bowl season. You know, I made a pick for every bowl game. So I tried to watch as many bowl games as I could. And a couple of them, I bet on really bad quarterbacks. And it is miserable to watch your team when you're trying to cover a number and you know that your quarterback just does not have the juice and you have to wait for something crazy to happen. But I may have to join you because 12.5 is so much. And the Steelers are no doubt going to fight hard for Mike Tomlin, and it's probably going to be Big Ben's last game. So like covering this number, and I could see them for sure. You know, let's say they're down 20 at the end of the game. They're for sure going to go down and try to score a touchdown for Big Ben and kick the field goal and cover the numbers. So we'll see. But I guess that wouldn't cover. So it'd have to be like 19 or 18.
Yeah, you never know. 2-point conversions and stuff.
Yeah, go
so
for 2. There you go.
Yeah, they do all kinds of weird stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
Cover.
Specifically, the Steelers do that. Yeah, you're right.
Oh, yeah.
They used to always do the 2-point conversions. Let's talk about our final game of this. What do we call it? Is it called the Super Wildcard Weekend now?
Wildcard, yeah.
Super Wildcard Weekend. Arizona Cardinals, LA Rams. It's 7:15 Central, 8:15 East Coast. This is a divisional matchup. These teams have played each other a couple times. I do have a pick on this one. I am taking this over. I love overs in SoFi Stadium. It's a #fast turf. It's a brand new stadium. You know, weather's not going to be a problem. These two, as I mentioned, these two teams are in the same division, you know, the NFC West. They've played twice. So the first time they played, the Cardinals won 37-20. The next time the Rams won 30-23. Both those go over this 49.5. I'm taking the over 49.5, mostly because I just want to root for points. But I also think it's just generally a good play. I think Kyler Murray is going to find ways, you know, to escape this pass rush from the Rams, get the ball down the field. The Rams, you know, they can score some points when necessary, but I think the biggest handicap is the Cardinals defense as of late. You know, they gave up 22 late to the Cowboys. The Cowboys had no reason getting back into that game. I missed that whole game. I was in the car. I was kind of salty about it. But the Cowboys scored a bunch of points in that second half. And then you turn around and the Seattle Seahawks put 38 on this team. You know, they were trying to win the division and they gave up 38 to the Seahawks. I think there are points to be had, especially big plays on this fast turf without the weather. You know, basically in a dome. It's not really technically a dome, I guess, because the sides are kind of open, but I like this over in part because I want to cheer for Kyler Murray to make a bunch of good plays and then want to see the Rams' cool offense do some cool stuff. And hopefully we run this over, right over. Although I know the under is typically the play in Wildcard Weekend, just so everyone knows, but I'm on this over. What do you think, Beast?
I love the over, actually. I kind of hadn't looked at it, you know, as much until you had mentioned it. But now I'm looking at it. You're right. Numbers wise, you know, both defenses have kind of had some struggles. You know, LA last week, I thought that they were going to run away with that game. And then San Francisco looked really, really good as the game went on. You know, they gave up 27 to Jimmy G. I feel like Kyler's a lot better than Jimmy G.
That's true.
Stuff. So we'll see. I mean, Arizona's offense has exactly what it takes to hit this over. And Matt Stafford will be able to put up enough. So I agree, over 49 or 49.5, whatever you end up getting is a great one. But my play that I'm probably leaning the most on that is Cardinals +4.
Okay.
Everybody's going to probably see, you know, Cardinals are 1-4 their last 5 games. And, you know, they lost the last game to LA by 7. So it's like, oh man, they lost by a full touchdown. But I don't know, man. I think Cliff Kingsbury kind of gets it together, you know, this week. They're going to play harder. Kyler Murray might have a little bit extra amp. I mean, you're 4-point underdogs to a team that you've already beat this year once. I mean, you split the series this year. So this is going to be a fun game to watch. Probably one of the best games of the weekend. I'm glad that they put it on Monday.
Yeah, me too.
It'll be a perfect way to end the weekend. But I think Cardinals have exactly what it takes to hit this over, but also cover +4. That's a lot of points for a divisional game anyways,
Yeah. Yeah, you'd take that in the regular season just because you're taking a good team, a team that won 11 games plus the 4. Plus, one thing that also needs to be noted, and I don't want to hate on LA fans too much, but this is about as neutral site of a game as you're going to have. You're going to have plenty of red in the stands. It's not going to be too hostile for Kyler Murray, so they're going to be able to run this offense. I wouldn't be surprised if Cliff Kingsbury has some stuff up his sleeve for this one as well, because I'm sure he wants to get one over on Sean McVay, because everyone's talking about how brilliant Sean McVay is, and not many people are talking about, our guy Cliff Kingsbury very much these days. And he's definitely one of those guys that he likes the spotlight. So I could see them running this up a little bit. I think the pace is going to be there for an over. Both these teams seem to like to, kind of spread it around and play quick and throw the ball a lot, get it out of their hands. And we'll see. I mean, I think do you know if JJ Watt's back for this one for the Cardinals?
I am not sure. I would have to look up the injury report on that. I feel
like, I'm looking at ESPN and he's not listed, but he was on the IR, but I thought that they said he was going to try to give it a go even the last week of the season. So I figured by the playoffs, maybe he's especially going to give it a go. But honestly, that just points me more to the over, because this guy, he's going to be rusty. They're going to be trying to work him in rotation, trying to get him some conditioning. I feel like that's just a good reason to take this over also. So I'm going with it. Hopefully Rondell Moore plays for the Cardinals. Is in a dynamic. He's a rookie. I think wide receiver from Purdue that we love to watch and love to bet on back when he was in college. So we'll hit this over. It'll be a lot of fun there on Monday night. Look out for the Twitter Spaces on the timeline. It'll be a lot of fun. I'm sure we'll have some characters in there like we always do, but yeah, we got to give a good big shout out to our guy Beast Picks for jumping on this last minute. He's just that guy. He's one of my favorite follows on Twitter. It's @Beast_Picks. He's also big on TikTok. I'll let him kind of talk about that. He does picks on TikTok as well. And he's been killing it with these NBA prop picks too. So this is just an all around good capper and a good guy, a good follow too. If you're not already following him, though, I'm sure most of my followers already follow him. But I'll let him kind of plug himself because he's kind of got a podcast with his friend Breeze Picks and lots of cool stuff going on himself. So take over, Beast.
For sure. Yeah. Like PG said, me and one of my good buddies, another guy, Breeze_Picks on Twitter. We did a NFL betting podcast this year, and we both had real good records this year.
Great
we ended
records.
up both finishing like 55-56% on the year, which, as PG knows, it's hard when you're betting week in and week out, because
especially in the NFL.
Yeah, you have
NFL's
some bad
even
weeks.
tougher.
Yeah, you have some bad weeks, you have some good weeks. So we were pretty happy to have, some pretty good records at the end of the year. So it went pretty well this year. It was our first year doing it. So we had a lot of fun doing that. But I'm very active still on Twitter and TikTok for that matter at Beast_Picks. TikTok, I just kind of have some fun with it. That's kind of where I started giving out plays. I would just do like daily plays, but now I'm doing it on Twitter mostly, and I'll do some funny TikTok videos. Sometimes I'll give out plays on TikTok, but a lot of times it's just funny betting content that a lot of us relate to, whether it's, point of view when you lost that big parlay or something in that, you know what I mean? But the Beast prop, though, has probably been the biggest thing lately.
Yeah,
you guys just search hashtag Beast Pick on Twitter. I'm the only one putting hashtag Beast Pick out there other than PG, so you'll see it if you search hashtag
Beast prop.
Beast prop. Yeah, so we've hit it 5 days in a row now, including today. We were on an 11-day streak. Going into last week. My record on the year for NBA player props is 36-15. So it just keeps getting better. So we're having a lot of fun with it. I usually just give out like one a day, but hey, 5 days in a row we've hit it. So it's been pretty good. So we're having fun with it. We're going to keep kind of giving out NBA and NCAA and more picks. So excited for the NFL playoffs and excited to just kind of keep putting out content.
Yeah, keep on keeping on. I also wanted to plug, what's your Action Network handle? I know mine's Potato Gobbler, but you're a good follow on there because you have started, when you put a pick out, you do a little blurb next to it. This is why I like this pick, blah, blah, blah. So I wanted to give you a chance to put that out there too, because it's really good stuff.
Yeah, that's also I put it as Beast_Picks just to try to keep some continuity of it.
Yeah.
But I usually put out all my plays on there before I even post them out, so you get a little sneak peek if I haven't posted them yet.
Yeah.
But I like doing the blurbs. I just started doing it recently. It kind of gives you a little extra, write up.
I love that. I think that's the best. And that's really how I got started. I write a little bit on codasportscappers.com, but that's kind of how I started. I was just doing little notes, and it's really, it was kind of just for me at first. And then it kind of got to be, it's kind of fun because you can kind of talk your way through it. And sometimes I'll find myself halfway through typing up a little note and being like, well, maybe I need to look at this again. So it's a good way to look at it. And just a massive shout out to you. You're one of my favorite guys in the community. So thanks so much for joining, Matt. It means a lot to me. And I'm sure this won't be the last piece of content we do together, but this is the first. So it's something to get excited about for sure. My guy Beast Picks, but thank you all so much for tuning in. It was a fun show. We're going to keep it going with the NFL playoffs. Then we'll probably jump into the NBA playoffs, NHL playoffs. You're going to see a lot of different personalities here on Not Another CFB Pod, but we're just having fun. Again, another big shout out to Coda Sports Cappers. All those guys out there, like our guy Pace, go follow him as well. A lot of good dudes here, and keep up the positivity. That's how I found this guy Beast Picks. He's great. I've actually found him on TikTok originally, but he's a great follow on Twitter too. So check him out. And everyone, just have fun with this weekend. Let's be safe and hop in the spaces at Potato Gobbler. It'll be a lot of fun. Peace out, guys.
Have a good one, guys. Thanks.